Well, hello, and a good whatever time of day it is for you. This is Stan Partuce. On today's episode of the Postgame show, we'll be talking to DM Jody about Save or Suck spells. And I can tell you from a Barbarian perspective, all spells suck. So you can probably just skip that part. I've told you everything you need to know, which you can take as a generality, and you probably will. Good for you. After that, I'm going to be talking with that rascal, Renouard Sowerberry III. Well, that dude, he was the right dude for the moment. He just kind of fit right in there, like a snake in gravy. After my chat with him, we'll be headed into the locker room. And, cold as ice, the heroes chill out and dissect the evening's events. I guess evil needs a time to rest too. You be the judge.
Welcome to the DM's Lounge, and we have Jody here. Thanks for taking the extra time to talk about this episode again, and I really appreciate you being here.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to.
There was a few things that grabbed me about this episode. One, just the major thing that happened was that, a Save or Suck spell, mass suggestion, which controlled except for the first couple of actions of the villains, it controlled pretty much the whole combat. And it was cool, but then the combat became about the mass suggestion. I've had a conversation once before about Save or Suck spells. I don't know. What do you think? Was it fun? Are they not fun?
Honestly, this is something I've really gone back and forth with over my whole time playing the game. On the one hand, the suck part of that really sucks. It can be super demoralizing as a player. Like if you spend a high level spell slot, you're going to have this awesome heroic character moment. And then, the monster gets a nat 20 and just then nothing happens.
Right.
And same thing for the DM. If the player casts something that just absolutely wrecks the battle, then, it can kind of spoil a dramatic moment. And it can sometimes trivialize what was supposed to be a major boss. But on the other hand, another thing that I keep coming back to is, D&D is kind of based on random chance. Like everything is based around the dice, and whether as a DM or a player, it's almost like, if you kind of agree to that contract when you play the game.
Yeah.
And so, right. I don't want to be harsh about it. Yeah, exactly.
The one thought I had about it was that, in the context of where, this episode, it's for the game, at least artificially a one-off moment. Whereas over time, if you're, Save or Suck spells, you're going to get some highs, some lows. And in a single one shot like this, it's binary. It's like, it's awesome or it's not. I guess it was, I think it didn't make this battle not fun. I think it was still fun, at least for me to watch. I think it changed the tone of it. It made something that could have been a little darker, funny, right? Because then you just had these people walking around looking for cleaning supplies.
Yeah.
But that's my kind of deal too. Okay. The next thing I wanted to talk about briefly were these cool villain party actions, and then also just the separate like creature actions and reactions that are very much part of Flea Mortals, the MCDM book that we used. And he says Matt Colville and James Intercastro say in the foreword that's for certain types of monsters, they're looking for them to be heavily dependent on these actions versus say just like a list of unique actions instead of a list of things like bite, sword thing, or listing a spell. And that was by intention. And I do really like the unique things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this is such a fantastic opportunity to give more creatures more things to do, which is always a good thing. Typically only like the highest CR monsters have, the legendary actions or whatnot. but this adds that to almost every level of play, and can sometimes even surprise experienced players, which is
Right.
difficult to do a lot of the time.
Yeah, and you play tested this with me, and I think you had mentioned before that it added this element of surprise to it, to have these extra things, not only on their turn, but essentially be legendary actions at a lower level creature. Although these guys were kind of bossies anyway. I think the one thing that they do generally is sometimes, and I saw this in the playtest, generate spell-like things that are not spells. And so it could seem to people like, hey, that creature cast 2 spells this turn. And it's giving the monster something that is not available to the creatures. And I think potentially that could be frustrating to people. Could be fun. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a great concept, and I love what they've done. I do think potentially the wording could be adjusted a little bit to where to like specifically say it is or isn't a spell, because I agree it can, and it did in the playtest, lead to some confusion and like, hey,
Right.
what exactly happened with that?
They do say in the forward that unless it's otherwise specified, it's not a spell. And like
Oh,
then
okay.
I referred back to that, and so I guess going forward, I know like by design there's these spell like things. I was trying to think of an equivalent for players. In the you know this from doing Clericon, the divine domains, those things are not like spells, and they're just like extra things that they can do. Clerics can just go like, hey, I'm doing this extra cool thing. It seems
Yeah.
analogous to me. And then I guess finally there was 2 of these actions that were specific to the Black Iron Pact that I really liked. The one thing, it was a reaction of the Lady Deseo called Spellcasting Feedback, which was an alternate to Counterspell, really. It just, instead of saying you can't cast your spell, you can cast your spell at a hit point price. I like that one.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the coolest things that I've seen out of this party. I think I may have mentioned this in the episode. I've heard some DMs talk about just straight up banning counterspell.
Yeah,
Um,
sure. Right.
and so I think this is such a fantastic, like you say, alternative to that, and it gives the players that choice, and that's always a good thing to give your players more choice, I think.
Yeah. And then just the last action that I really liked was the main guy. I'm looking for his name here. Yeah, Lord Erasmus. His action called "I'm right here. I'm right here." It just seemed to have so much character, and I think that goes with Flea Mortals, that they were looking to introduce specific character things to the monsters to make them feel different than the other monsters. Goblins are different than hobgoblins, or Lord Deseo is different from some other noble. And I really like that. I think the opposite side of that is it's more to remember, more to work with, and fun, but you have to remember that it's there. Otherwise, it just passes you by.
Yeah, and I think that's what is so great about this idea of these villain parties, that you have these memorable kind of rivals to that, and kind of going along with their abilities. One thing I love is that they all have this ability that lets them just teleport out of a combat.
Oh, right, yeah, right. Which
Yeah.
they didn't. I didn't avail for them. But yes, they have that. One thing I've seen in some other third party stuff that it's coming out or is out already, having creatures written for different levels, right? So if the party has a showdown with them at level 3, there's a stat block. But if they hang around as NPCs until level 7, there's a higher stat block.
Oh, that's
Um,
awesome.
And I really like this Black Iron Pact. So like I'll probably use them at some point, but I can see them like if you want them as a recurring enemy, that's, got to tweak it a little.
Yeah. But I mean that's so cool, to have that where, it's not this one-off thing. It's this thing that the party can get to know over time and also learn to strategize. Like, oh, hey, the first time we fought them, we noticed that they had this ability. Let's come up with a plan to counter that next time.
Right. That Blowhard's going to say, "I'm right here."
Yeah.
What do we do about it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think, I wanted this to be about 10 minutes. We're about at 10 minutes.
Okay.
So next in the show, we're going to have Stan, who is going to interview Renouard Sowerberry, and I'm looking forward to that. I think he's probably going to diss me, which rightly so. All right, Jody, thanks again for joining me here. Appreciate it.
Sure thing. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, so I had the pleasure of catching up here with Mr. Renouard Sowerberry III. I think I got that right. We're just outside the locker room. Yeah. How'd he do, sir?
Close enough. I'm doing well, thank you.
I'd say so. Yeah, you survived that one. So let me just kind of review it a little bit. You were there giving a tour to your institute, the Institute for Human Betterment, with your buddies, and all of a sudden all hell broke loose. And the Black Iron Pact broke in. What was going through your mind?
What was going through my mind is I thought Discord did too well on the media coverage of the Institute of Human Betterment, and that people were just breaking down the door to become the next candidate for betterment.
They were there, and as far as you could tell, to join up with your group. Interesting. Okay, I hadn't caught on to that myself.
I think they had a difficult time expressing themselves properly. Some people get overexcited, and they just, that's part of what the Institute of Human Betterment does. It helps people deal with that.
Helps them be better. For a while there, the excitement was getting out of hand, and looked like you were soaking up a lot of damage. And for a scrawny little dude, that's fairly impressive. I usually have to be raging to do that. What's your secret to getting your butt kicked?
Well, it's surrounding yourself with competent friends, and so I think having Mercy there to help bolster my constitution was very nice, and Discord was great at providing me some enhancements to help me resist some of the unpleasantness that these humans were trying to foist on me. And Apex is just a fantastic person to have to eliminate unruly guests. So it's really about surrounding yourself with the right people.
Yeah, I hear that. Now, if I'm not mistaken, it's your line of trade to get yourself through life with magic tricks instead of cold hard steel. Now, that must make you feel a little puny. How do you cope with that?
Well, it's the power of persuasion helps, as in these these humans that came in. What were they? The Iron Cult Gang, or what? I forget. They had some name. Yes, that was it. So they came in and they had all sorts of metal accoutrements of pain that they were carting around with them, and I was able to convince them to drop those and do something a little bit more productive. And then when they were done cleaning, I had them pick up their items and put them in storage so that nobody got hurt. And then we brought them into the Institute. Even after they skipped in the queue, we provided a spot for them.
I see. All right, so they're still with you there at the Institute. Okay. I was wondering what happened to them. Yeah. Well, I'd say that regardless of how it went down, you have something to be proud of. It's not all boo hoo hoo, I'm evil. You should feel good about yourself. And
Who said I was evil?
I don't. Well, I just thought it was obvious, but I'm just a simple barbarian. What the hell do I know?
I'll write that down. That's something to think about.
So even even the most despicable of us, I suppose, have our good days. And maybe it occurred to me you might want to. There's somebody special out there you might want to give a shout out to.
Oh, I mean, everyone that made this possible. I mean,
Yeah.
it's everyone who's loved me and cared for me, and everyone who's encouraged me on this journey. It's about surrounding yourself with the right people, and I have been blessed by that, both in the Institute of Human Betterment and out. So
Very
I'm
good.
thankful for all of them.
I'm going to take this opportunity myself to say hi to my mom. Hi, Mama. I love you. All right. Enough about me. I don't know. I think we're coming to the end of our time, and you look like I don't know. Normally this is about a time I say that my guest stinks and they need to get into the shower. But you look you're one cool customer. You look like you're ready to go for another round.
Well, I mean, after a short rest, maybe, but yeah.
Short rest. Okay. Very good. Enjoy your sour berries there. I'm going to go find myself a real drink. Okay. You're welcome. All right. Bye now.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
Welcome to the locker room. So looks like you've all had your showers and are as composed as you were before, perhaps some refreshments, champagne. James, you definitely deserve the champagne on this one.
The MVP.
We were briefly talking, but I think it probably didn't make it into into the filming. So let's talk about it now. That spell just basically ended the battle. Have you ever used that before?
I have. There was a debate amongst a bunch of people that were playing fighter classes. And they're like, oh, my guy can do all of this. My guy can do all of that. And I was like, okay, well, let's do an arena battle. And I cast Mass Suggestion. And my suggestion was dance and clap your hands until I tell you to stop. And so that was, I just made them dance. And then I played the I Can Make Your Hands Clap song. And so I did that for a little bit. And then
I mean, thanks to Paul, he rolled terribly. Otherwise
that helped.
Yeah. So three, and then one of them was like hidden.
It was a 1, a 2, a 6. I don't think you rolled above a 10.
Yeah, because that could be a waste of a higher level spell.
That spell was super powerful and just kind of like it was the battle. Still, I did like Betsy that you got in there and got in a smite, and you again you joined us like at last second and really helped us out. Thank you. So you'd never played a paladin before, okay, wow. And so. On our, if you have a chance to watch some like great programming, you could go back and watch our third episode, Vanguard Confusion, in which a paladin there, played by Ula, he did with I think over the course of 4 attacks, 160 points of damage to this poor vampire. It was really interesting to compare like catastrophic. Failure of enemies like Mass Suggestion versus Smite. I guess these are like spells that and abilities that have the ability to just like shut things down.
Yeah.
And Betsy deserves kudos because Renaud would have been sleeping without that 30-point lay of hands as well. So thank you very much.
Yeah, that's true. That was huge. All right, and we yeah. Oh, I mean,
I was debating taking Cure Wounds, but I didn't, and I figured, well, somebody else will have it or whatever.
Yeah,
and we don't.
Right, because
Renault was soaking up a lot of damage because they were trying to do something. And Frank, you were playing Discord. I like that character because like it pulled on all types of like cool like evil, satyr, bard, Discord. Like it seemed to I guess the only thing would be like say Cacophonics. That it was like Discord or Cacophonics.
Yeah, I was actually going to start playing because I was doing a lot of psychic damage stuff and all that. So I was actually going to start acting like he's kind of going crazy a little bit. Maybe he's affected by the elements. Maybe with what's in the tanks and all that. So he was going to turn like a little crazy with like red glowing eyes and all that, and becoming mad, almost like a mad scientist. But I didn't have a chance.
Yeah, the tanks. So I just had a great idea. I heard that like our commentator, our on the field commentator, who introduced this segment, Stan Partuce, actually he knows what's in those tanks, and I think I might try and have a word with him and see if he'll like let the audience know. So you guys will have to like watch the episode, which will be at least four people who will watch the episode, which should probably like double our viewership. So that's good. If you want to find out, that's what you should do. Eve, all right. So you were back again with us and playing a high level rogue. Yeah, so I hadn't seen that ability either, where you like do the damage and then like send it off to somebody else, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I usually don't play rogues, and I kind of was going through the sheet there, and particularly it's called Whales from the Grave. It's really interesting because it's not just to that second person, it's to the person you're attacking as well. So that was nice.
Yeah, that was
but I didn't get my trinket. I was very upset.
Well, I'm sure you could have gotten it. I mean, just didn't get it on camera time. So
that's true.
I was just thinking about this, that wouldn't it be convenient if we could all use mass suggestion in our, would it be, is mass suggestion more useful in a D&D battle or like in real life? I think real life, you could just get so much out of that spell, right? Like, give me a mass suggestion, please. Right? That would be great.
Yes.
I mean, I would use the same command that I did in here for children. Drop
Absolutely.
Clean up.
Absolutely.
Clean up.
Clean up.
Every school teacher would want to have that spell.
110%. Do your homework. Brush your teeth.
Careful, Ricky. There's a beverage involved here. Well, in the aftermath of what just happened, I think this whole who's bad thing was really a lesson in failure to communicate. First, you had the Black Iron Pack coming in and being all like, I'm right here, which, as a barbarian, I can understand. But think about old Renouard. I think that guy actually thought he was getting some new recruits, when clearly he was as malevolent as a pile of stinking demon poop. Pardon my celestial. That just goes to show you what book smarts get you, which is a stasis tank full of human beings and a good cleaning crew. You can take that to the rodeo and ride it. For boss battles, this is Stan Partuce.